All right. Hello, all. It's just me tonight because this is a makeup stream. I apologize that we had a massive storm yesterday that knocked out my power, and 'tis the season, I guess. Please enjoy Korean barbecue. That sounds amazing right now. So pick the positive option whenever talking to a girl. I got it. Enjoy your Korean barbecue. You can watch a video on demand afterwards, and yeah, have like double for me. Make sure for the pork belly if you eat it. So back on Chaos Child, I can talk tonight. Um, Shit in this game has gotten weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm digging it. I do like it. Um, I'm still in the. I want to put the protagonist in a jar and dissect him at some point, but let's go over our recap. So we had a nightmare flashing back to saving Serika after the earthquake, among other traumas. We went negative for a moment and imagined the girl from the crime scene shanking us into a bad end. Yeah, that didn't go so well for us. We looked up CBN News for Kei's propaganda about New Generation Madness. Shinjo interrogated the girl who Ito knows from school, and news isn't reporting everything about it. Then we walked through the Miyashita slums and met with Serika at Cafe Lax. We talked to Serika about our backstory, and she recorded the crime scene for us before the cops could delete it. Go Serika. I'm still calling her best girl so far. We picked positive, which apparently translates to fantasizing about roofies. That was weird. So I'm very interested to see why we are picking the positive option, but we'll find out. But the old man who tipped off Serika about the Love Hotel barged in drunk to reveal it's a sumo sticker. We needed pancakes to get Nono involved in investigating. We met the girl at the school, Hinae, from the Lit Club, who thinks we're into pseudo-incest with Serika. We asked her about the hotel and imagined her asking us out before she predicted our death. Yeah, that was creepy. Like, she just basically told us we were going to die. So, she's a lot of fun. Let's keep going. We're still only in chapter 1. I don't know how many chapters there are, but this is a long chapter. Okay, October 2nd, 2015. Friday. At the same time. Dogenzaka, Shibuya. The sky had been overcast all day, and now it had finally begun to rain. Some of the news media that had been swarming around the Love Hotel decided it was a good time to go home. Others just took refuge in their vans, frowning. Meanwhile, Shinjo's mind raced quickly. Let me try that again. Shinjo's mind raced as quickly as the men trying to flee the storm. What's going on here? Everything had started right after midnight. Hinae Arimura, the Hekiho girl, had refused to give even her name until he'd relayed Momose's message to her, but as soon as she'd heard it, her attitude changed. His only choice now was to continue to do everything Momose's kid told him to do. The first thing she'd said was that there was almost no chance Arimura was the killer and that it was safe to let her go. The second thing that she'd said was that it would be smarter to let her go and see what she did. The third thing she'd said was that even if he did get some answers out of her, he wouldn't be able to make sense of them. Shinjo had used every bit of his authority to get her released. He'd been forced to suck up to some people he really didn't like, and in the end, she would be monitored and questioned by the police daily. Since they hadn't known if she had anything to do with Kakita's death, they'd used her assault on the police officer to bring her in. Either way, last evening marked 48 hours since her arrest. They had to decide whether to let her go or seek a warrant for detention. They hadn't found any physical evidence connecting her to Kakita's murder, and Arimura herself said, "I don't remember anything." That was all she'd said, in fact. Provisional release at this point felt like a bit of a stretch of his authority, but it was a sensible decision. If anything here wasn't sensible, it was the fact that he was doing everything Momose's acquaintance asked of him. He didn't have a plan to follow. This was the first time that had happened, he thought. He only managed to be successful at his age around what Momose called the hardheads in Section 1 was that he knew how to be flexible. The reason that many police officers could be stubborn and hard-headed was that most of the time that was how you solved a case. Shinjo understood that the rules they clung to so fiercely, both written and unwritten, were the product of valuable experience. But he also understood that the unorthodox methods his senior detective friend had taught him were a weapon in their own right. Even if the higher-ups didn't like him using them, they'd brought him success. One good example was the time the profilers had told them the man behind the string of assaults was a man in his 20s who had never left his house. He had found out that the culprit was actually a runaway girl in her late teens who lived in a net cafe. He'd matched the internet logs that Section 1 had gathered with the data held by the Social Safety Section, a group that was on notoriously bad terms with Section 1. The Social Safety Section deals with crimes involving minors, particularly drug crimes and cyber crimes like illegal computer access. In the end, he'd cracked the case by logging on to an online game and tracking down several of its players, including the girl behind the attacks. Shinjo was, if nothing else, confident that he was capable of not letting preconceptions keep him from making the best choice. But this time, not only did he not know what was the best choice, he didn't even know if the choices he were making was good or bad. This is just ending up just like Momose said it would. Yeah, drug crimes, cyber crimes, and worst of all, truancy. If he couldn't change things fast, he might end up taking off the case. He looked at his watch and realized something. The man he was waiting for wasn't here. It had cost him quite a bit to get permission to show him the crime scene, and he was over 30 minutes late. Momose said that there was no way I could miss him. He didn't know what he looked like, but there was no way the officer standing guard outside could miss him. Hey, wait! You! He heard a loud voice from the hallway. Shinjo decided that before he let him into the scene, he'd give him a lecture about his tardiness. He stopped, surprised. Yeah, I had a feeling it would not be a he. A girl? He didn't expect to see what he saw. He'd convinced himself that anyone weird enough to want to see a crime scene had to be a guy. But she looked like she'd be very pretty with some makeup on, even if she wore one. None now. Oh, I'm doing great tonight. Sorry, guys. A frown was plastered on her face, and her long hair was half-heartedly tied behind her back. And she was wearing a white lab coat, but under it was a uniform. And isn't that... That was uniform for Hekyou Academy, the same school Arimura and the other two who'd snuck into the crime scene attended. Shinjo motioned to the officer to let her pass, and remembered the last name he'd been given by Momose. Are you Kunosato? So basically, we just have a whole bunch of genius children. Somehow, I guess. Like, I don't know about everyone else in high school, but I was not solving murders.
Yeah, I leave it to you all, so you don't need my confirmation.
Huh?
There's no time to waste, as you know. Yeah. Well, I gotta nurse this dumb cop. Okay, later, Chris.
And then she hung up the phone and glared at Shinjo. Exactly, Hope Speak. That's apparently what we're playing in. She showed no sign of apologizing for her lateness or gawking at the scene of a murder. This was her. It had to be. When he saw how arrogantly she was behaving, he knew immediately that this has to be the Kunosato person that Momose had told him about. He felt a little overwhelmed by her, but tried to make his voice as strong as he could. Are you Kunosato? Knowing Momose, I figured I'd be ready for anything, but I can't let a young girl into a crime scene.
Don't act normal when you're surrounded by things that aren't normal. Didn't she tell you that would get in your way?
Hey! She ignored Shinjo's words and walked right past him. She stepped right on top of the number plates that forensics had put on the ground to identify the locations of evidence. Then she looked at the blinds placed on the window to stop the media from looking inside, and stopped. Shinjo felt himself becoming annoyed at her attitude, particularly what she'd just said about him in English. Dumb cop or not, you're going to do what I tell you. Right now...
People think that every corpse is dead.
Huh?
You've got ears that can understand English, and you don't watch Fincher?
Fictional David Fincher, an American movie director. The line Kunosato said is from the hit psychological movie 8. She put her hand up to the blind that she'd been looking at. What are you doing?
I'm asking if you really think this room is the only crime scene in this case.
She kept her eyes on the exposed window. as she tossed him a pokécom she'd fished out of her pocket. Shinjo grabbed it without thinking and looked down at it. Uh-huh. He was stunned. It was footage of the room he was in right now. That was probably Kakita dead and Hinaya Arimura. What is this?
A video that was just uploaded to the web.
Ugh. Her answer made Shinjo feel pissed off at everything, including himself. Why didn't he notice? Why did he have to be shown this by a girl who he'd just met? From outside the window? He grabbed onto the window frame looking for the spot where the video had been recorded. But all he saw was the external wall of the building, slick with rain. There was only some kind of strange, creepy sticker there. Are those stickers like cameras or something? Like, is that... Ugh. And that's why it's outside every window, is because it's capturing the crime scene? Maybe? That's a thought. Hey! Shinjo yelled out into the hallway. The officer outside heard the tone of his voice and rushed inside. Shinjo pointed at the window and said, "Seal off the building next door right now and get me forensics, and then track down where this video..."
I don't know about the video, but you're probably not going to find anything next door. There's no sign of a camera having been placed on that wall.
Huh?
I copied the data at the security entrance and Frisia's team is going over it, but we're not going to find anything probably. I hope not.
She must have been enjoying this because Kunosato's frown twisted into a mischievous bully's expression. Again, he didn't understand. He didn't have time for this. He ignored her and ordered his men to seal the building, call forensics, and track down where that video was filmed. With that finished, he turned back to her. Is that why you were late?
Focus on securing the scene. Atchan picked up on this video right after it was posted, and it was uploaded only 40 minutes ago.
There we go. The stickers all have the key symbol on the back, the recusant signal, and Pastor Xehanort.
Already more than 5,000 people have seen it. You don't think any of them are those media people down below?
Wait, you can't... This is Watabe with Nikonia News. I'd like your comment on...
I'm with Coyote TV. I'd like to ask you about...
Get out! No pictures! He could hear yelling coming from the hallway. Damn it, that net reporter again? Shinjo ran out into the hallway, infuriated. Are you with Section 1? Did you see the video? Please don't come in without permission. We have no comment. No pushing. Did you see it or not? No comment. Kunosato was still looking outside the window as she listened to the commotion in the hallway. She stuck her hands in her pockets and stared at the sticker on the opposite wall, the way a person on top of a tall building stares down at the tiny people on the street below.
Hey, how does it feel?
The sticker pictured two ugly overlapping faces. The rain made it look like they were crying.
If there was any witness, it's you, right?
Kunosato smirked like a fighter facing down a worthy opponent. October 2nd, 2015, Friday. Time passed. It was now almost midnight. Under a bridge in Shibuya, she walked with her head down so that others couldn't see her strange face. She was dragging her legs, so her body tilted a little. She didn't have an umbrella, so the rain that had fallen that evening made her long bangs cling to her forehead. Water dripped off of them. Oh, are we going to get the lady in the red coat that we saw in the prologue that we didn't see die? The eerie eyes that poked out from between her locks of hair looked like those of an animal hunting its prey. No one was moving but her. There we go. Two pictures. Iris Wilson's eyes crossed instinctively. I still cannot figure out what she was talking about in that whole thing, and she talked about it a lot, let me just say. Normally, there would be people here at this hour, but the town left her alone, as if it had sensed something. She disappeared into an alley without anyone else noticing her. It was several minutes later when they appeared there. Hmm. A girl less than 10 years old and an old woman well over 70. The old woman might have been blind because she carried a stick and had her hand on the girl's shoulder. And the little girl was carrying something far too big for her tiny frame. Neither of them were carrying umbrellas, and both were soaking wet. They walked at a slow pace. Perhaps they knew the path well, or perhaps they simply didn't care, because they paid no attention to anything around them. And then, for the first time, the little girl saw something and stopped. The old woman stopped as well, and the only sound in the alley was that of the rain. Hmm. The girl stood there for a full minute. Eventually, she turned her head and led the older woman away. All that was left was the rain. Okay. And the things on the wall. That's a lot of them. I don't like that.
A video of the scene has been passed around on the internet. The footage in question shows the body of a man who committed suicide in a love hotel.
Oh, that is not his voice. It was past midnight. All the news programs were talking about the video that had been uploaded to the internet that afternoon. Since there was a dead body in the video, none of the programs were actually playing it, but the newscasters had all described it. It was as if they were telling people to watch the rest on the web. Which means that the people who are just hearing about this now will be looking at the internet, huh? Twitter was the best way to see what people were saying at any given moment. I opened it and took a look.
Where can you see the thing that they're talking about on TV? This is getting exciting. Link, http://www.atwiki.
I saw it, but I should have known better than to watch it this late at night. Someone tell me a funny joke or something. That's about what I expected. Whenever I searched for a keyword related to the case, I found tons of tweets about the video on the news broadcast. Yeah, legally, we cannot broadcast this snuff film, but you all know where to find it. The address of any page or aggregator site hosting the video was getting retweeted at an incredible rate. Of course, this was nothing new. @Chan had already been in festival mode since the video had been posted that evening. Festival is a state of furious excitement on an internet message board or site, where people are commenting en masse about a particular subject, inspired by the raucous jubilation seen on the streets during actual Japanese festivals. Oops. The video on the aggregator wiki had been quickly deleted, but someone had saved it and uploaded it to a bunch of other sites. Those sites had deleted it too, so others had repeated the process. After the news, the threads on @Chan had gotten bigger. Revolving Dead, huh? That sounds like it's gonna be what they call it. I didn't know who'd first come up with that name, but more and more people on @Chan were using it. It was probably a play on the revolving bed the body had been found on. Raucous. Good to know. If it comes up again, I'll say it that way. Since the body had been spinning too, the case was literally about the revolving dead. @Chan, Twitter, and all the aggregator sites and pages dealing with the case were in an uproar. I looked around and didn't see any new information. I'd seen it in person myself. I could easily tell when someone was lying or guessing. It's past midnight. What about this? There were no big updates on Shibuya News either. The top of the page was about the uploaded video, but it was basically just a rehash of existing information. I'd thought that with all this fuss, she'd be putting on a web radio broadcast, but maybe she was busy. There was nothing about the sumo stickers or Arimura, which made sense, I guess. Even Kei wasn't psychic. Only we and the police knew about Arimura, and only we knew about the stickers. The sumo stickers. Damn it, I've been planning on checking to see if there was a sticker around the scene of the leaking noise today.
You're going to be killed, Takeru Miyashiro.
I couldn't get the words she'd whispered out of my head. In the end, it had started raining, and I'd gone with Ito's plan of trying to get more information about the video and learn more about Arimura. I hadn't made much progress with either. Of course, it had surprised me that Kurisu hadn't said anything. What did she mean I'm going to be killed? The question came back to me again for the 100th time, and I still had no answer. What was she warning me about? Why had she told me I was going to be killed? Had I pissed her off somehow? No. It felt more like she was talking about someone else killing me. Then maybe it didn't matter if she hated me or not. And the timing didn't make sense either. We weren't talking about anything weird. We were just talking about the case. I don't know. I would kind of say that was weird for high school conversation, but was she telling me that if I kept looking into this, I would be killed? But that didn't make sense either. The police had ruled the death at the Love Hotel a suicide. It was a strange way to kill yourself, sure, and after seeing it, I couldn't believe it was just a simple suicide, but did that mean Kakita had been murdered after all? Murdered by whoever had tried to come into the room? But the police had told me I'd been mistaken, and Ito had told me I couldn't prove it logically. Damn it. It was no good. It didn't make any sense. I was going to be killed? Had I crossed some line? You're going to get killed, Takeru Miyashiro. Yeah, that's true. High schoolers do discuss the weirdest stuff. I tried saying it aloud and shivered a little. Was I scared? Or was I excited? I could feel myself start to laugh. That was fine. That was just fine with me. If I'd crossed some line, I'd find out what it was. That was the difference between me and those morons on the internet. I could do it. I had lots of clues. The first was Hinaya Arimura herself. And then the sumo stickers. I'd only seen them at 2 of the crime scenes so far, but if I could find one at Leaky Noise too, I'd have a clue that no one else in the world had. I should go take a look tomorrow. And then there was the video that had gotten uploaded to the internet. Who had upped it and why? Hmm? I played the video one more time, then realized something. Wait a second. Why here too? It was a common thing you found in videos, so I'd never really noticed until now, and I hadn't seen any comments on the internet saying anything about it either, but why did they use this effect? There was something weird at the start and end of the video. It was on screen for less than a second, but at the start, the image appeared from bottom to top. And then at the end, it went black from top to bottom. Yeah, it's like an eye opening and closing, which is not really how cameras work. These weren't particularly unusual effects. The one at the start was often used in TV shows and movies when a character woke up. Of course, this was when the camera was showing his point of view. The one at the end was often used when a character was falling asleep or just before they passed out. Sometimes you could play both at high speed to make it look like someone was blinking. It was called a wipe. It was a method of transitioning video from one image to another. This video was clearly taken from next to the Love Hotel and almost perfectly at eye level. Eye level is a term in video recording. It refers to the height the camera is placed at. Or, not in camera recording, the same level that your eye is at. From the distance and angle, that much was clear. I spent so much time looking through a camera that I knew how to judge the distance between it and the things it saw. I was sure that if I asked the rest of the newspaper club, they'd agree. But the side of the building where this video was taken was a sheer wall. I could see that for myself in the video I'd taken. The only things I could see outside the video were the wall and the sticker. The uploaded video looked like it had been taken from someone's eyes. Suddenly, a dumb idea occurred to me. I looked at the picture of the sticker on the wall that I'd printed out. Nah. I shook my head to drive away the stupid delusion. I needed to stay calm and logical. Tomorrow I could go see where the camera had probably been placed. Uh-oh. To be fair, why would you put that up on your wall? Like, knowing that it's been outside of crime scenes, like, Okay, what the fuck? I don't like that. Ah, the fuck happened there? Kind of delusions are we in? Okay, talking with Amy. And Ed Lucas has joined the channel. I apologize for being late.
The test images?
Spreading through Shibuya as expected.
Continue to monitor the situation.
Yes.
And the target?
No issues. I'm close enough to kill Takeru Miyashiro at any time. Great! Super fun! Alright, chapter 2. Rikishi sticker. So now we know how long these chapters are. I don't know how many chapters there are, but man, I did not like the end of that one. If you asked me, all the people in my class were ignorant children. When I was in 4th grade, only about 1 in 6 kids had a smartphone. A bunch of them would use their phones during breaks to pull up secret web pages made by the kids at school or dumb joke sites. They'd pass them around the class to become the center of attention, and each would be the leader of their own little group. One day, one of these leaders was upset because he couldn't visit a site he'd been able to access the day before. Some of the kids in his group suggested that it was broken, or maybe the address had changed. I told him, it's just internet filtering. Your parents contacted the cell phone company to limit your online access. Filtering is the act of setting standards for evaluating and selecting web pages, and using that to restrict access to information. Here used to refer to the act of restricting access to pages deemed harmful to minors, which is usually done by parents, guardians, or cellular phone companies. The leader looked stunned for a moment, but then he yelled at me not to make stuff up. The rest of the group joined in. I knew I was right. I wasn't making anything up. I didn't understand why they were all yelling. Later, I realized that I was the class misfit, and he was the boss of his little group, and he didn't like that I'd shown him up. I only went to school once in a while, but when I did, something like that always happened. I was sick of it. I wanted to show the rest of my class I was better than they were. I wanted to shock all those wrong-siders. When I snuck inside, I found a place filled with true darkness, unlike any I'd ever experienced. I could hear her gasp behind me. You okay? Serika didn't answer. She just clung to me as if seeking escape from the darkness around us. Should we go home? Serika quickly shook her head.
It's okay. We still haven't found any clues about Amy, and I don't want to be in that house. You too, right, Taku?
I thought for a second and nodded. For her, that was probably the real reason. Okay, let's go.
Mm.
Serika nodded back, but even in the darkness, I could see that her lips were quivering. She was scared. Maybe I'm lucky. What I wanted in this situation wasn't a brave comrade who would go boldly forward with me, but a friend who would shiver pathetically behind my back. No matter what happened, I had to protect Serika. Having her there made me feel better like that. I brought my focus back to what was going on around me and started to softly walk forward. I woke up from the usual dream. For once, I hadn't been sweating in my sleep. In fact, I felt better than usual. Okay. I booted up the PC, checked my email, and then loaded all the major newspaper and news sites up at once. Thank God that sticker is gone, but also, why is the sticker gone? I'm scared. It was how I usually started my morning. I felt extremely alert. I could probably finish my usual routine in less than an hour. Yeah, that's right. I'm not a kid anymore. I won't give up halfway like I did before. Yeah, I need someone who makes me look cool. I mean, it's kind of like the like mom drive or whatever. Like everyone's too shy to go ask until someone else needs something, and then you can find the motivation to ask. This time, the mystery I needed to solve was right in front of me. 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . 」 . Have you ever seen this sticker? On a streetlight, on an abandoned phone booth, on the back of a mailbox, or on road signs. You can find them anywhere in town. These strange stickers, which look like the faces of two fat men overlapping, are called sumo stickers. The first time people started talking about them was back in 2007. They were big enough that at one point people were talking about them on TV. After the 2009 Shibuya earthquake, everyone just stopped talking about them, but lately they've started appearing around Shibuya again. This was found yesterday, for example. At first, these stickers may appear to have been put up at random, but they all actually have something in common. This, and this. These 3 stickers were found near the sites of the bizarre deaths that the whole city's been talking about. This was put up on the karaoke box opposite the apartment where the Don't Look at Me took place. This was put up on a streetlight near Leaky Noise. This was put up on the Love Hotel opposite the scene of Revolving Dead. That's right, all of these were placed near the scenes of the deaths. Some of you may think this is just a coincidence, but Don't Look at Me and Revolving Dead took place in a 5th-story condo and the 3rd story of a Love Hotel. And both of these stickers were placed high up on the 5th and 3rd floors of the buildings opposite them, as if they were looking down on the scene. Leaky Noise is no different. It was placed on a streetlight looking down over the scene. Is this really just a coincidence? Who created these stickers? Why are they being put up? And do they have anything to do with all these strange deaths? We'll continue our investigation. Finally, Don't Look at Me took place on September 7th. Leaky Noise took place on September 19th. Revolving Death took place on September 29th. Have you noticed that these 3 incidents took place on the same dates as the first 3 New Generation Madness killings 6 years ago? If the sumo stickers have something to do with what's going on in Shibuya right now, then maybe they have something to do with what happened 6 years ago. Views 5. That means no one but us has seen it yet, right? Well, we haven't had it up for more than 24 hours, but... Hey, here's another video tagged Shibuya that's just amateur reporting on those arson cases, and it's got over 100 views. Wait, this video is just a compilation of some rumors off the occult board, and it's got over 3,000! If you live in Shibuya, the ghosts of the people who died in the earthquake will possess you and give you strange powers? This really got 3,000 views? Hey, are you listening? Yeah. I don't feel well. I tried my hardest to avoid looking at it directly, but screwed up. Did these stickers creep you out that much? They're really creepy. Well, they're certainly not what I'd call cute. You look at Guro pics all the time, so you're used to this stuff, right? You maniac. No, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I raised my head off the desk. Ito's Pokecom was displaying the news video we'd made and uploaded to Nikonia last night, the one about the sumo stickers. The thumbnail was a close-up of that sticker. A thumbnail is a smaller, compressed version of an image on a computer used to allow a viewer to see the image before they click on it. That name comes from the fact that that image is sometimes the size of a nail on a person's thumb. I don't know whose thumb and why we decided that was what it was, but... Don't open back up. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't like it. It's creepy. The screaming baby just, like, tops it all off. Damn it. Calm down. It was just a hallucination. You imagined it. You looked again, and it wasn't there. I'm back! Hey, what's wrong, Taku? Nothing. I almost jumped out of my chair when the door opened. I turned around and saw Serika frowning. Alright. We got asked to be positive with all the girls, so... It's nothing. What's that?
Food. You're the one who told me to go buy it.
She was right. I'd spent all of lunchtime going around the school taking video of the preparations for the fair, so I could have this time to use as I pleased. I benched lunch. What a pain.
Here you go, Sing. A ham sandwich and milk coffee.
Cool, thanks.
Taku gets a calorie block and a mountain view. I don't know why you don't get tired of this stuff.
Stop hassling me about it. This is the most effective way to get a balanced diet. Alright, let's see what kind of hallucination we get this time.
Yakisoba, salmon rice balls, cream bread, a chocolate coronet, a bean jam bun, and a grapefruit for me.
You've got the world's most inefficient metabolism. You're a girl, right?
I am, yes. Why?
Don't make that why are you asking face at me. Sedika grabbed the cream bread off the massive pile of food in front of her.
Wow, I'm hungry. Let's eat.
She chomped down on the bread. Cream bread. She focused only on devouring her meal and ignored what everyone around her might be thinking. Good. You take care of yourself, girl. Was she really a girl? I always worried a little watching her. She should think a little bit more about how she looked to others. No, screw that.
What?
She chomped down so hard that the cream inside the bread flew out and stuck to the edge of her lip.
I got cream on my mouth.
Uh-huh. Ito's demeanor suddenly changed.
Oh, it's all sticky.
Instead of wiping it away, she kept eating her bread. With every bite she took, her lips got dirtier and dirtier.
But it's so good.
Oh, God. Teenage hormones at work. Strangely, I found myself unable to look away. Why was I staring at her mouth like this? Come to think of it, I'd never really stared at someone's mouth when they were eating, especially a girl's. Her plump lips and the way her pink tongue darted around her mouth as she licked away the white cream seemed strangely arousing.
Hey, Taku, see, you're both staring at me. Is something wrong?
Oh, no. Nothing. Both Ito and I looked away. Why did I feel a little excited? Anyway, wipe your mouth.
Okay then. Taku, you lick it.
Huh? Sedika grinned a little and then walked right in front of me and brought her head close.
I want you to lick away the white cream on my lips and make me all clean with your tongue. It's sweet and delicious. So, do it? Please?
Stop it.
It's not like it's a kiss. Come on.
Her soft lips were right in front of me. They smelled like cream. I wonder why. She said it wasn't a kiss, but wouldn't licking it away be naughtier than a kiss?
Okay, I'll do it instead.
Hey!
Oh no, I said it's okay. Don't stop me.
Did we just get cock-blocked in our own hallucination? Oh my god. You bastard. When I imagined him licking Sedika's lips, I felt really annoyed. I even felt like I was going to throw up. Stop it. I offered her a tissue. Just wipe it away.
Taku?
Aw, you're no fun. Shut up. What was going on here? This was like one of those sex circles you sometimes read about in Cool Cat Press. What the fuck is a sex circle? That was not... I needed a definition for that one, but also I don't want to know what it is if it's in Cool Cat Press. This wasn't the Hekiho Academy newspaper club.
Taku, I'm sorry. Did that really bother you? Then...
Sedika scraped the cream off of her lips with her finger.
I'll make you lick it instead.
Huh? She jammed her finger into my mouth. It was so sudden that it scared me a little, but I licked the cream off of her finger without thinking. The taste of sweet cream spread throughout my mouth.
Is it good?
She pulled her finger out of my mouth, and then she stared at it. Then she glanced at me and grinned.
It's all sticky with your saliva.
Okay, well that was bizarre. I hesitate to ask what NTR is. So I don't know how to answer that. Where did I get that from? Setika wasn't that sexy to begin with. Well, I was more perverted than sexy. Were men just really vulnerable to girls like that? Was I? But as for Setika,
It's so good.
as I watched her happily chow down on her cream bread, I decided the chances of her ever turning into a brain-dead pervert like the one I just imagined were near zero. Setika was still a little girl. She'd probably never even fallen in love. I felt a little superior. Yeah, that kind of seems like something that we may be into. And the fact that we are just figuring this out, not really. We are a teenager, I guess. I do not miss this part of puberty.
Hey, Onoe, is the vice president not coming?
Setika tilted her head a little in confusion. Her hand stopped right before she grabbed her salmon rice ball. Wait, who the hell eats a salmon rice ball after they eat cream bread?
I don't think she'll be here today. She's busy getting ready for the festival. And Non's been kind of weird lately. She doesn't look like she's doing too good.
I wonder what's wrong, she whispered. By lately, she probably meant since after Nono met Arimura. It was true that after that, she'd given up on telling me not to follow the case. Either way, thanks to that, I'd been able to focus on the case without being interrupted. Since she'd met Arimura, huh? Okay, we can talk while we eat. Let's get started, Kazuki. Can you close out of SO2 for a second? We're going over the info on the case. She may have been waiting for something to spawn, or maybe she was just at a good stopping point because she quit the game with much less cajoling than I'd expected. In game lingo, spawn is used to refer to the appearance of an enemy on the game field, and waiting to spawn means to wait for that to happen. Kazuki often spends several hours a day waiting for a rare monster to pop, and on weekends she's willing to wait over 10 hours at a time. Holy shit, girl. She started to print out data from the PC. Now then. There was a lot of new information, but I'd spent so much time making the video that the board was in the same way it had been. It was time to go over it. First, I should start with what I can't put on the map. The space on the right is open. Let's start by putting the stuff that we don't know a lot about there.
What do you mean?
You know, like that video.
I see.
Okay, then. Ito forced himself to swallow what he was eating.
Let's put up any videos that might have something to do with the case here.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Alright, so the video that was uploaded to the wiki was footage of the inside of the Love Hotel room, taken from the outside. So... Alright, so that was that video. And here's the summary. It's because of this video, isn't it? That I had that weird hallucination? It was just a plain old wipe, so why did it seem so strange?
Taku, what's wrong?
What's wrong with you? Just listen for now, okay?
Okay.
Okay, where was I? Ito, they never caught the guy who uploaded the video, right?
Yeah, there was a big festival online over the weekend, though, since it got reported on TV.
That's right. People on the internet like to make fun of TV and newspapers, but the biggest cause of online festivals was mainstream media attention. But there's been no updates, which means nothing new to talk about for 3 days. Is it dying out?
Given the nature of what happened, it won't die out fast, but... Oh, there was that thing with Koshin on the weekend too, right?
Huh? Oh no, I didn't know what he meant. Oh yeah, that thing.
What do you mean? Koshin's the biggest company involved with the rebuilding work, right? They're also involved with those security cameras going up all over town. Somebody started complaining about how the cameras were an invasion of privacy, and this guy at Koshin acted like an arrogant dick. I think there was actually a lawsuit filed this morning.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
So people are starting to talk about that.
I see. So that was it.
People are starting to say that the video was a prank or a fake, and the majority think that it's real or shutting them down.
So it's self-feeding then. Either way, without fresh fuel, it would eventually have to go out. Self-feeding is a word Miyashiro made up. When a festival or flame war on the web lacks fuel to keep it going, sometimes people will appear to point out problems with an existing evidence, which leads to a new flame war. When he sees lots of these, Miyashiro believes that an online festival is beginning to wind down. Well, I understand why people would think it's a prank or a fake. But after having been there, I knew it wasn't. That's right. I should put up the video of the room, too. Kozuki, can you edit something from the Love Hotel video for me? Okay, that's all.
Oh, I guess this too.
Huh? Why was he putting that up there?
Huh? Why?
You don't need to put the newspaper club's video.
That's right, it's creepy.
See, even the self-proclaimed girl says so.
We don't know what might be related to the case, right? And these stickers might be the key, right?
Maybe, but...
Listen, they aren't as creepy as you're making them out to be. Come on, I'm putting them up.
Damn it. You can only say that because you haven't seen it with its eye open. Well, it hadn't actually opened. Geez, are you a girl? I'm a guy. Fine, fine. There were a lot of sumo stickers in the other images anyway. I shouldn't let it bother me. But I was going to avoid looking at them directly too much. Alright, we've put what we've got on the stickers up on the board, but the long distance shot of the sumo sticker looking down at the Don't Look at Me case was... let's see. Don't Look at Me was that one, I think.
What's that?
A shot of where the sumo sticker was put up.
Well, I can see that, but why?
Well, I've been wondering ever since I found the thing. How'd they get it up there? This is the 4th floor.
Couldn't they just open the window and lean out?
These windows don't open.
Oh, that's right. You went to do karaoke alone, didn't you?
It wasn't karaoke alone. I didn't sing!
What about the other incidents?
Ito ignored my protests and motioned for me to continue. Damn it, it wasn't karaoke alone. We are so worried about looking cool. Next is leaky noise, I guess. Oh, we didn't have a sumo sticker for this one yet. When I'd gone to the scene 2 days ago on Sunday, I'd found a sticker on a nearby telephone pole, just like I'd expected. The close-up footage of it is the one I used for the newspaper club video, so... Okay, it must be that one. Oh, it really was creepy up close. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. And the long-range photo of it is... That one has a telephone pole in it, I guess. I can't zoom in, so we're having to do some guessing here. No, it's definitely not this. Okay, so it will tell you if you're wrong. And the long-range photo of it is... How about that one? Anybody who wanted to could put that sticker up there. But the long-range photo of the sumo sticker for the revolving dead is... Okay, that one must be this one. This was on an outside wall too. There's a window, but it's way out of reach.
Yeah? Couldn't you stick it on the edge of a long pole or something and push it against the wall?
Had she already finished eating all of that? Well, you could, probably. But you couldn't do that at the karaoke box, could you? Burp. That wasn't the answer I was looking for.
I ate a little too much. What if you had a really, really long pole?
They'd see you doing it?
Then you could dress up like the building janitor or something.
First a long pole, and then that?
Well, it's possible, I guess. What's wrong?
It's like, this whole case is so weird, but you're talking about putting stickers on a pole or dressing up like a janitor and rappelling down the side of a building or something. I just can't imagine the guy who put them up doing something so Realistic? Well, that's if the guy who put them up is the same one behind all the deaths.
No, we don't know if it's the same guy putting them up. And anyway, do we need an actual criminal for this? The cops are saying that all 3 cases are suicides.
But they're also trying to find the person who visited the room right before the Don't Look at Me case, right? And I still felt like there was someone on the other side of that door.
I feel like it's a message from someone who knows what's really going on.
A message?
I don't know what Kakita was doing just before he died, but if he was in some kind of abnormal mental state like the last 2 cases, then something must have caused that, like a drug or something. And then maybe someone who knew about the drug put up the stickers.
Why?
I don't know, but
What?
what do you think then?
Huh? Okay, so what was the deal with those stickers around the crime scenes? Let me think. Maybe putting up the stickers was a goal in and of itself?
Huh?
You know Batman, right? Batman is an extraordinarily famous American comic book, also the name of the heroes in the comic. Launched in the 1930s, and as of 2015, there are many cartoons, movies, and live-action dramas about them as well.
That's the one where the bat transforms into a giant steel man in a red cape. He shoots out webs from his fingers to kidnap kids, right?
Wrong. Batman wasn't any of that. Actually, I think that's about like 5 or 6 different comics mixed together. There's this guy called the Joker. He's the bad guy, and he leaves a Joker from a deck of cards at the crime scene as his trademark. Even if he doesn't leave a card, his face looks like the Joker from the card deck, so either way he can say Joker was here.
So, what does he transform into when he kidnaps kids?
What are you talking about?
So, what? A guy who looks like those sumo stickers killed 3 people and made it look like a suicide for fun and then left the stickers there as his trademark?
No, I'm just speaking hypothetically here.
So, why doesn't he put the stickers on the bodies?
It's just a hypothesis, okay?
And why is this all happening on the same days as the New Generation Madness?
How would I know? I tried to calm Ito down. Anyway, let's just go over what we know. We can talk after that.
Yeah. So, it was the sumo wrestler stickers, right?
Yeah. There's been one big thing. That wall covered in sumo stickers was under the Shibuya Bridge, so... And the picture is... Hey, I think I can guess that one. Oh, it didn't even let me guess it. Boo. And the summary is...
It's pretty creepy when you take a look at it. Have we ever seen this many at once?
The sumo stickers phenomenon peaked in 2009, before the earthquake. But I think even then you usually didn't see this many in one spot. I know, right?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. How would you know?
Because, Serika said as she looked at me,
I investigated them with Taku a long time ago.
Huh?
We went around and looked at every single one in Shibuya. Right, Taku?
Yeah, I guess we did. That was part of my dark history, though. Dark history is net slang for an embarrassing part of your history that you would rather not talk about and that you wish could be forgotten. Its origin can be found in a certain famous giant robot anime.
Yeah, we were pretty serious. You said there was a big mystery involved, that it was a conspiracy.
Hey, you idiot. A conspiracy? Don't look at me like that. You were in 6th grade in 2009, weren't you? Were you into urban legends back then, too?
We looked into a lot of other stuff, too. The squirmy and the apocalyptic sound.
The apocalyptic sound is a massive noise of unknown origin that has been heard all over the world. It's unknown where it first appeared, but around the year 2011, videos of the sound began to be found uploaded to the internet, some of which were recorded in Tokyo. Many of these videos contain a powerful, low-pitched echoing noise, like two pieces of heavy metal scraping together. The name is said to come from a scene in the last book of the New Testament, the Revelation of St. John, where an angel sounds a trumpet as the world is about to end. Squirmy was an urban legend that spread via the internet beginning in 2003. Most variations of the story involve people who saw something squirmy, who later experienced strange incidents. The size and description of the squirmy varies, but it's often said to be a white color, and most of the strange incidents end very poorly for those who encountered it. Opinions differ on whether the original story came from an internet message board or a manga, and the debate continues to this date. Ahem. Getting back to the point, they haven't caught the guy who put these up yet, right?
So, according to Miyashiro, who was already a poor, sad little boy in 6th grade...
What do you mean I was a sad little boy?
We don't know who created the sumo stickers or why, right?
That's right.
So, isn't it possible that they're involved in this case somehow?
It's possible. Of course, it was also possible that someone other than their creator was using them. But they'd been at all the crime scenes so far. It just felt like they had to be involved. These are the only stickers we've got right now, right?
Yeah.
Then here's the next step. I want to put up a security camera at the wall where all these stickers were placed.
Huh?
These stickers really bother me. Part of it is the fact that we've never seen so many of them in one place before, but... I guess I need a picture. Kazuki? Kazuki? She was too busy playing SO2 to listen. Kazuki! Can you get me the photos of the sumo stickers from around the city we used for the video?
So?
These are the stickers that were put up around town. Compare them to the ones on the wall. I wasn't going to look myself, though. I didn't want to feel sick anymore. When I'd realized this in my room yesterday, I'd been staring at them so long I literally felt like I was going to throw up.
They're just sumo stickers, right?
Then look at the ones from the crime scenes.
Ito took a careful look at the picture I showed him.
Oh. So he saw it then.
What? What is it? The design's different.
Ito kept his eyes locked on the image. Surprised? I'm not a sad little boy after all, am I? Okay, time for a lecture. Yep, there are several different sumo sticker designs. This has been the case since they were first discovered. Some have beards, some are crying, some have swollen heads. There are a bunch of them. Because of that, nobody knows which one was the original sticker design. In a sense, these things are graffiti, and in graffiti, it's common for someone to copy another person's work, so this happens a lot. Graffiti is painting or letterings left on walls or rooftops using spray paint, ink, or other types of paint, functionally identical in definition to street art. It's said to have been appearing in America in the 1970s, and in recent years, some of its best creators have been recognized as cutting-edge artists. There's an unspoken rule that when painting over existing graffiti, you must replace it with something better, which has aided in the art form's development. In that case, only the people involved know which is the original and which is the copy. But this time, the stickers on the wall and the stickers found at the crime scene match completely.
Then whoever put up the ones at the crime scene is the same guy who put them up on this wall?
No, we don't know that. It might be a coincidence. There are some other stickers around Shibuya with an identical design. Ito sighed, disappointed.
What? Then...
But isn't it weird that there's so many? More than there's ever been? If it is the same guy, then that means this may be where the next crime takes place. And if we could get a video of it happening, it would be the biggest scoop imaginable.
That's true, I guess. But are you sure about this?
About what?
If we put up a camera in the middle of the city without permission, that's an invasion of privacy, right? Shouldn't we at least wait until the next new generation date on the 10th? This is going way beyond what a school club's supposed to do.
Don't talk like Kurisu.
I am talking like Kurisu. What happens if they catch us? I don't want to get killed. Aw, I'm telling you, you're too scared of Nong. Right, Hana? See?
No, she's clearly not listening. Don't worry about Kurisu. She hasn't been coming after us anyways.
That's true, but
don't pussy out on me, ma'am. This is our chance. Our only clue is the sumo stickers, and there's something about those stickers that's bugging me. If this works out, we can get a clue as to who the killer is before the cops do. And the worst that can happen is that we waste our time, right? Still, Ito thought for a second about something. Probably Kurisu.
Fine, you're the club president.
He nodded in resignation. All right. That's about all we need this board for right now.
Hey, this is the first time we've gotten so much use out of the board.
Siddika looked at all the papers pasted up on it.
You're right. Until now, we haven't really had to go over everything.
Did I just hear her get upset? Did she just lose a roll for a rare item or have a kill get stolen? Kill steal is online gaming slang, the act of attacking a monster that another player has already started fighting. Since this can reduce the amount of experience or items earned by the original player, it can often lead to fights. In Japan, it's considered bad manners. And a roll is, in SO2, when a party decides who in the group will get a rare item dropped by a monster, the computer rolls a set of dice for each player, and the person with the highest roll wins. SO2 also allows for different methods of determining loot allocation.
Hey, don't do that, Hana. You'll make a dent in the wall.
There was a pretty big dent in it already, actually. What's wrong? Ito was still looking at the board. Was there something I'd forgotten to go over?
Nothing, just there's a lot of things we don't have answers to, right? Like why this is happening on the same dates as the New Generation Madness, or why the sumo stickers are found near the scenes but not at the scenes themselves.
Did you figure something out?
No, that's not it.
Ito shook his head.
I just realized that because of that, we've got a big leg up on everybody else. Kei from Shibuya News realized the thing with the dates, but we're the only ones to notice the sumo stickers, right? Has that happened before?
That's true, yeah. That just means this is our big chance, right?
Yeah, if we don't start thinking of it that way, we may miss out.
Ito smiled as if he'd gotten over his doubts.
So, what's the plan with the camera? We can't use the club's camera. Want to use yours?
Yeah, I bought some motion-activated cameras for home security and ended up with an extra, so I brought it with me. It's got a battery long enough to last until October 10th.
Okay, so should we go right now then?
Oh, about that. Huh? Can you go by yourself?
Huh? What are you going to do?
I'm going to talk to Arimura. Yesterday I was too busy with that video and the sumo stickers to do it. Ito looked surprised, then fell silent for a moment.
Well, I know there's a lot of stuff you want to ask her, but when we met her last week in the student council room, I don't know how to say it. She seemed a little strange and imposing. Didn't you think she was scary?
Yeah. I could tell what Ito was trying to say. Hinaya Arimura had been a cheerful girl, at least when she was talking to Kurisu. But the second I'd brought up the Love Hotel incident...
So you were the Hekiho student who came into the room?
Everything about her changed. Her voice was flat and emotionless, telling me nothing about what she was really thinking. And...
She told you something back then, didn't she? Does that have something to do with it?
No, nothing. She didn't say anything. Ito's thoughts, on the other hand, were extremely easy to follow. He didn't believe a word I said. That's good, because we're full of shit.
Well, whatever. You two were the ones who were in the room with her.
He must have come up with some probable answer that satisfied him.
But can you go by yourself? You know you're going to end up tripping over your own words. Oh, I'll go with him. Taku, you're not used to Arimura yet, are you?
Shut up. I would just get a little nervous. What? Nothing. Just, you two are together all the time. We are not. Just, she and I... She and I had been friends for our whole lives.
Huh.
What are you trying to say?
It's just like you to freak out, but still not deny it.
Uh-huh.
You really aren't a normal.
What did you say?
Anyway, you and Onoe can handle Arimura.
Okay. Hey, wait,
And me and
Kazuki.
She says a huge swarm of enemies just popped up and killed her.
An MPK, maybe? Short for Monster Player Killer. The act of luring a monster to another player and causing the monster to attack and kill them. This is considered seriously bad manners. No, wait a second. Kazuki's not the type to do anything outside the club anyway, is she?
Then I'll handle the camera myself.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Ito silently took the bag with the camera in it from me and said,
Some guys have all the luck.
With those mysterious words, he disappeared into the hallway. We wouldn't know what to do with them anyways.
What's wrong with Shin?
No clue. Or at least not that we are willing to say. Okay, the sumo stickers save the world from destruction. The phrase sumo sticker has always seemed strange to me. The face may look like a sumo wrestler, but it's not actually. It's a fat man. No, we don't even know if it's a man. It could be a woman. One need only look at the hairstyle to find proof of this. The hair is parted, not brushed back, which means it's not being tied into a top knot. Of course, there are some real sumo wrestlers who don't have enough hair to form a top knot, but they all brush their hair back. No sumo wrestler has ever stood in the ring with parted hair. So what does that hair mean? Is it just some guy with parted hair? No, the hair, in fact, represents a temple. And in a temple, of course, you find a god. The sticker has 3 eyes. 2 overlapping faces should, of course, produce 4 eyes, which means that the number 3 is significant. The 3rd eye is the eye of the mind. Since ancient times, the 3rd eye has been used as a motif in conspiracy theories and urban legends. The eye that sees truth, the Senringan. The Ajna Chakra, I apologize if I just murdered that. The eye of the pyramids. All of these things are represented as having power beyond human understanding. In other words, the 3rd eye is God himself. The eye of the pyramid, the symbol of the Freemasons, is also known as the all-seeing eye of God, or the eye of the Egyptian deity Horus. In other words, the eye, God, sits beneath the hair, his temple. But do you remember in 2012 when the world was supposed to end during the Mayan apocalypse? But researchers have already proven the original date given for the Mayan apocalypse was an error. The correct date was September 3rd, 2015. This date brings us to Egyptian mythology. According to a legend recorded on a fresco in the Temple of Isis, the world will sink underwater in September of 2015, and the goddess Isis is the mother of the sun god Horus. Do you understand now? The sumo stickers represent God. But then why are they only appearing in Shibuya? Because the grace of God wanted to protect Shibuya from the apocalypse. If you're a reader of this blog, you'll have already guessed what I'm about to say. Last month, in September 2015, the world was threatened by a greater danger than any it had ever faced before. A massive solar storm caused electronics to crash all over the world, but especially in North America and Europe. A full month has passed, but only 50% of the damage has been fixed. So why did Japan, the world's 3rd largest economy, and in particular Shibuya, one of its biggest cities, survive almost unscathed? Yes, because the eyes of God, the 3rd eyes, opened and created a powerful barrier. This is the truth, and this is my message to all the people of Shibuya. I want you to understand this. The faces on the sumo stickers do not belong to a sumo wrestler. They are a symbol of God. They are God. You must not take them down. That would be blasphemy. This is already too long, so I'll go into details in my next entries. An interesting perspective. By the way, my name's Maya, LOL. How's that for synchronicity?
I've seen the sumo stickers too. It's totally a sumo wrestler.
This is some creepy shit, LOL. How many people in the world actually believed in the Egyptian calendar apocalypse? It's just something they came up with to explain why the Mayan apocalypse never happened. There are other supposed dates for the apocalypse after 2015 anyway. After 2015 is 2017, then 2020, then 2030. Go through some more old myths and legends from around the world, and I'm sure you can find more. Conspiracy theories are just a way for the power structure to control the masses.
A lot depends on whether you assume God saved Shibuya or whether he drove out the rest of the world to the brink of destruction. Is it possible that Shibuya was already purified 6 years ago and that's why it was allowed to survive?
How many Japanese have a real understanding of what God actually is? That is actually a fantastic question. Do you know how many people died in the earthquake 6 years ago? This is inappropriate. Please delete this entry immediately.
If the sumo stickers don't actually depict a sumo wrestler, we should look at who first started calling them that. We all use the same term to describe them, which means that someone must have been the first to come up with it. Perhaps someone gave them that name for a reason. Maybe they wanted to blind us to the fact that the stickers were God by making us think they were sumo wrestlers. I sense the presence of someone who doesn't want to admit the existence of God, or perhaps who wants to hide it.
Over the past few years, unneeded people have been culled from Shibuya. That's what I think. Life is a balance between fun and sorrow. If it all evens out to zero, then it's not a bad life, but for most people it's a net negative. Coming out to zero is the best we can hope for. So what is death then, beyond a thing that no man can avoid? It's not a minus. Of course, it's not a plus either. It evens out to zero. It evens out to nothing at all. The unneeded are culled because they are unneeded. You could say that they were chosen because they were unneeded. The first great culling was the earthquake 6 years ago. The New Generation incident was what foretold it. Shibuya is now is just like it was 6 years ago. God will come out once again to cull the unneeded. If the sumo stickers are God, then the city will soon be covered in them once more.
That doesn't explain why the 1999 Nostradamus prophecy, the 2012 Mayan apocalypse, and the 2015 Egyptian apocalypse were also heavily reported on by the media.
Hey, it's Onoe. What's up, Arimura?
Oh, Hinaya is probably somewhere around the school. She's in charge of decorating for our class. The cafeteria, maybe? It was Akko who dragged her off.
Hey, Onoe! Food? Huh? Arimura?
She was just here, but then she said she'd help Akari's team.
Oh, Onoe, wanna wrestle?
Hinae? Isn't she with Haruka?
Aw, you're leaving already? You should wrestle with us, Onoe.
We're not having any luck finding Arimura. Does she have a lot of friends? What's wrong?
Nothing, just... Are you actually really popular?
Why?
Wait, why? Everybody in the second year class seemed to know who you were.
Really?
Serika made a face like she'd only just realized it now. Well, I never thought of her as particularly unpopular. But even though we weren't always together, we were together often enough that I was too close to get a sense of something like that. Wait, I think a long time ago, Kurusu once told her, "Act a little more like a girl. You're wasting your potential."
Taku?
It's nothing. Wait, Onoe, did you really not know who Arimura was? I mean, I don't really know, but she seems like she's pretty well networked around the school. Even if she was in a different class than you, I figured you might know her from some girls' group or something. Girls at a high school had to be better connected than anybody else around, right?
I don't know. I never really thought about class groups or anything like that.
That makes sense. Act a little more like a girl.
What?
Shut up, Taku.
Are you serious?
I suddenly heard a voice I remembered. What was that? I looked next to me and saw that Serika was clinging to the window glass and looking down. I looked down and saw someone I knew walking with a group of girls towards the school gate. Let's hurry.
No, I told you, I didn't actually tell him I liked him. But you guys are sharing an umbrella, right? You're walking through Shibuya on a rainy night? Knowing you, Akko, or actually knowing how you feel about that guy, it's only a matter of time. You think so too? You're a cabbage roll girl after all.
A cabbage roll girl is a girl who may seem shy at first glance, but who can become extremely forceful when it comes to getting what she wants in love. The name comes from the Japanese cabbage roll, which is spiced meat wrapped in cooked cabbage. It's said that the peaceful cabbage on the outside hides the vicious carnivore that lurks within. It's also delicious, if you've never had them.
No way! Is Akko a cabbage roll girl? Are they going to pick up some supplies?
Arimura was walking through the yard with two people who looked like they were her friends. Just like Serika said, she wasn't helping with the decorations in the yard. She was heading straight for the gate. Should we talk to her? Yeah. No, actually, give me a second. I needed to get ready. What should I ask? What happened in the hotel, of course, and what did she mean about what she told me?
What about you, Haruka, with Isozaki?
Oh, didn't I tell you? Haruka's real close with Shirai right now.
No way! I had no clue. How? No, it's not that big a deal, really. So, how'd it happen? Tweeter, he's big into Hekihobot, and I retweeted a picture from it. So you're a Cabbage Roll girl too, huh? I had no idea. No, it wasn't planned. It was a coincidence.
Ugh. Taka, they're leaving. I know, but what's with this huge gap?
Man, I'm so happy. I just feel so great.
She was nothing like the girl I'd seen in the hotel room or even in the student council room. She was just a normal teenage girl. And if you asked me, one of the worthless ones who loved to talk about things that didn't matter. Suddenly, Arimura stopped. Taku, that's... Alright, positive or negative? I know we said positive for the girls. Should we do negative for the guys? Should we do positive? I think I'm on my own at this point. Let's see. Yeah. I knew him. That was the detective who'd visited the interrogation room during our question. I'm curious what happens if we choose positive, so we're going to go with that. I'm being given too much freedom.
Sorry, I've got to take care of something. Can you get the stuff for me?
Arimura suddenly bowed to the other two. They seemed about to say something, but they must have seen the detective and thought better of it.
We'll text you later.
They left.
Isn't that a little unreasonable?
Her voice sounded different, like someone had flipped a switch somewhere inside her. All right, let's figure out what a positive one is for this.
So, what kind of case is it today?
Case? What's going on? An advance notice has been sent to the jewelry exhibition that's being held in the Hikari-o tomorrow.
Could it be the Phantom Thief?
Lomangaka? I don't know how you would even pronounce that. I'm so sorry. Indeed. I love a good heist. Let's do it. Let's go. What? I couldn't follow the conversation at all. This time we can't let him get away.
Sheesh. I wish he'd think about my schedule before he started sending out advance notices.
Please, help us.
I just went through all that mess at the Love Hotel. You don't give a girl a break, do you?
I do feel bad about it, but we can't solve this case on our own.
Oh, fine. You owe me some delicious cabbage rolls, though. Deal?
Cabbage rolls? Well, if that's all you want, then sure.
Thanks.
Arimura took the suitcase he offered her and got in the back of his car. The door closed shut, but the detective was still standing next to the car. The backseat windows were heavily tinted, and I couldn't see inside. The car was shaking a little.
What's she doing inside, I wonder?
Something naughty? Maybe there was some nasty old politician inside the car and he was pawing all over Arimura. The thought made me sick a little.
Huh? But that guy's a detective, right?
Not all detectives are good guys. Maybe he was threatening Arimura and forcing her to do bad things to make money? I gulped and tried my best not to throw up. 5 minutes passed as I stood there and watched. The detective stood there the whole time. And then the back seat opened. When we saw how Arimura was dressed, both Serika and I fell silent.
Ta-da! I'm all set!
Huh? What the heck? Was she cosplaying a naughty policewoman? Her uniform came complete with a miniskirt. So she'd been changing clothes in the backseat of the car. You're looking pretty good today, miniskirt investigator Hinaya Arimura.
Thanks for the compliment. All right, it's off to the crime scene.
Taku. Serika shook my shoulder. She was blinking rapidly in confusion.
Why is Arimura dressed like that?
I don't know. Oh, I get it. Arimura is normally a high school student, but that's not all she is. In her secret identity, she's a teenage miniskirt detective. She's summoned only for important cases, and she always catches the culprit. I had no idea she had such a huge secret. This is a huge scoop. Back to the newspaper club. Yeah, that's not actually it.
Huh? Miniskirt? Taku, what are you talking about?
Uh-huh. I suddenly realized that Serika was looking at me in confusion. I quickly looked around. Of course, Arimura wasn't wearing a miniskirt uniform. She seemed to be talking about something serious with the detective. Did I did I just say that out loud? Oh no, that's embarrassing. My face was burning. It was a joke.
It didn't really feel like your kind of joke. Or maybe you're actually into that.
No.
Really? You're not into miniskirt detectives?
Shh, forget that. We need to find out what's going on with Arimura and the detective. Serika was looking at me with cold eyes, but I quickly turned my attention to Arimura's conversation. Sorry, but I don't have a lot of time. I didn't tell them I was a detective, so I hope that's good enough.
It's not about whether you're a detective or not.
Your release is conditional. You know that, right?
Can we go to a cafe nearby? There's a place not many people know about.
The two of them started to walk off.
Is she going on a date with the detective?
Of course not. They're just talking about the case. As I stood there and thought, Sedika brought her face right up to mine. It was too close, and if the other students saw, they'd get suspicious. And she smelled good, so I wanted her to stop.
What do we do, Taka?
I want to hear what they have to say. I pushed her face back just a little and looked towards the direction they'd gone off in.
Should we go then?
Yeah, she said a nearby cafe, which means even after being damaged by the earthquake, Shibuya was still a mecca for fashion and culture. There were a number of cafes, even just around Hekiho Academy.
She said it was one not many people know about. I wonder if she means Cafe Lax.
Yeah, that would make sense. The newspaper club went there so often because it was close to the school, but students rarely visited it. Pretty smart comment coming from you, Onoe.
I got a compliment.
No, not really. We nodded at each other as we went through the gate. All right, let's go.
Okay. You two, your usual seats taken. Huh?
Um, uh. I tried to motion to the waitress to get her to understand. Sedika and I finally succeeded in getting our point across.
I see. All right, come this way.
With a perceptiveness that belied her ridiculous appearance, she led us to a seat near the entrance, far from our usual spot. If we put up a newspaper, maybe they couldn't spot us. We sat down and spread out a newspaper to hide our faces. I ordered myself my usual Mountain View, and Sedika her grapefruit juice. Sedika drew her shoulders in to make herself harder to spot.
Can you hear them?
I peeked out a little over the newspaper and motioned for her to be quiet, then listened. People from Hecky will not come here?
Think so.
Good. It was a little hard to hear, but I could make it out. I was still amazed to find out that anyone from Hecky knew but us knew about this place.
So, what's this about? I'm cooperating with the interrogations.
I just realized this a moment ago, but you're a very different person at Hecky, aren't you? Arimura frowned a little. You're talking during the interrogations now, but you're continuing to be completely passive, I'm told. By interrogations, he must mean they were asking her about what she was doing at the Love Hotel. What was that? A file? Hinaya Arimura, Class 2-3, came to Hekiho Academy in 2014. Head of the Literature Club, chipper and sociable. Average grades, no arrest record, no trouble with the authorities at school. This is what the school gave us on you. Besides, you and a basic profile and the police built, we know nothing about the case, since you keep telling us you don't remember anything. The detective leaned back in his chair. I couldn't see his expression from here, but I could guess that he was frowning. Could you at least be as sociable as you are at Hekiho? The police are doing everything they can to.
That's a lie.
Her words were sharp. Arimura was glaring at the detective as if she found his presence extremely unpleasant. That's right, I'm sorry. The detective bowed his head just a little. I couldn't see his expression. What? I and the person helping me are doing everything we can to solve this case. If nothing else, we're not your enemies. Arimura fell silent for a moment, as if considering his words. What? What were they talking about?
I'm not deliberately being uncooperative with the investigation. I just can't answer the question. When I say I have no memories of what happened before, during, and after the incident, I'm telling the truth.
So, is there anything else you can tell us? For instance, about your relationship with Hironori Kakita, the murder victim?
Uh,
Huh? My heart started beating faster.
Taka?
The murder victim? The police had declared the Love Hotel incident, the revolving dead, a suicide. I leaned forward even more. I couldn't afford to miss a word of this.
By us, you mean yourself and that other person, correct?
Yeah, the police have nothing to do with this. Arimura thought for a second.
Kakita was helping me.
Helping you with that issue?
Yes, of course. We would sometimes meet in a place where we could be anonymous and exchange information.
How did you meet him?
Hmm.
What's wrong?
He was a friend of my brother's.
Wasn't your brother caught in the earthquake and.
Stop it. My brother, my family, has nothing to do with this.
Arimura's voice sounded genuinely pained. The detective fell silent for a moment, allowing her words to echo through the room. All right. Yes, this is Shinjo. Yeah, yeah. All right, I'll be back in 10. Get it ready. The detective stood up. I quickly scrunched my shoulders together and leaned close to the newspaper. The detective knew our faces. I couldn't let him see me. Oh, right. Before I go, have you seen this before? The detective took out something like a file,
Huh?
and Arimura jerked backwards and looked away, frowning. What's wrong?
I know it, but I don't like that sticker.
Huh? Did she just say sticker?
What about it?
She was still looking away as she spat out the words. You're aware that the video taken of the scene at the hotel was uploaded to the internet, right? It seems it was uploaded from a free Wi-Fi spot in Shibuya, and we still haven't found the guy who did it, but this sticker was placed right where we believe the camera had to have been. Do you know anything about it?
No, not really. Just that it's creepy. You see them all over town, right? Close that thing up, please.
Adimura refused to look at it. The detective put it away. I'm sure. There's no way this thing has anything to do with the case. This time, he turned to go for real. From now on, please try to be a little more cooperative with the guy at the station.
I told you there's nothing I can say to them.
You don't have to tell them anything, but some of the brass aren't happy with your conditional release. They prefer to do things by the book. If you're so chipper and cheerful at Hekiho, it should be easy for you, right? Arimura sighed a very exaggerated sigh.
Just so we're clear. It's really hard for a teenage girl to act like a teenage girl these days, you know?
Crap. Good, they didn't spot us. By the way, there are no others like you as of now, right?
Nope. Come back soon.
That scared me.
Taku, shouldn't we leave before Arimura does?
You're right. Things could get complicated if she caught me listening in. I paid for our drinks and headed for the exit.
Come back soon.
Just as I was able to leave,
Whatever happens, it isn't my problem.
Arimura was all the way in the back, but I could hear her voice clearly. October 6th, 2015, Tuesday, 9 p.m., in front of Shibuya Station. The place was as crowded and noisy as ever. The footsteps of people rushing to the station to get home after work. The voices of people talking into their phones about where to meet for drinks. The screams of joy as old friends were reunited. Obviously this is based in Shibuya, but this does look a lot like Shibuya Station if you've never been there. It all blended together, and it all had an effect on anyone who passed through it, even for a moment. 6 years after the Shibuya quake, the city had been rebuilt to the point where there was nothing left to remind you of it. Everything was up and running again. Until a few years ago, many people would stop and stare and wonder at how everything was new, but not anymore. The slogan of the restoration efforts, Shibuya, a city reborn, had such an effect on people that the past was beginning to be forgotten. At least for people who weren't in Shibuya during the earthquake. Just a 1 minute walk away from the station was the Shibuya Earthquake Memorial. Kurusu made sure to visit once every week. She would put a flower down by the name of her best friend from elementary school and pray silently. It was only a short distance from the heart of the city, but the noise and commotion didn't reach this place. This place was somberly constructed and pure, as if it wanted to be separated from all that. Today was October 6th. The quake was on November 6th, so this was the same day of the month. Maybe that's why there were so many flowers. Some of them were lying scattered on the ground. There was no one around. Sometimes people would come at around 10:30 p.m. when the earthquake struck, but other than that, the place was mostly empty at night. Kurusu went around the area, grabbing up all the scattered flowers she could see and putting them on the nearby dais. She'd done it many times before. It was all part of her routine.
What do I do?
Kurusu was thinking about what had happened a few days before, and about her younger brother, Miyashiro. She'd heard it clearly. Hinaya Arimura had said those words to Miyashiro.
Takuru.
No, that was impossible. There was no way her brother was about to get caught up in something because of what he'd learned. A sudden wind blew the flowers out of her hand. They scattered away from her. All she could do was watch. For a moment, she tried to reach out and grab them, but her hand clawed uselessly at the air. Before the feelings overwhelmed her, she turned towards the place where her friend's name was carved.
Hey.
She rubbed it gently. The familiar sensation came to her through her fingers.
What do I do?
But the name, Senri Minamizawa, just echoed the question back to her. Yeah, I think I like it. It's rare for you to get such a good angle.
Come on, man. Just so you know, that was a pain to put up.
Did you hang it up somewhere?
Some kind of metal pipe or something stuck along the wall.
No, you mean a drain spout. It takes the rainwater that builds up on the roof, and...
No one cares. I used my own money to pay for the rubber bands I used to tie it up.
Pay me back tomorrow.
What?
You're the one who decided to put it there.
And this was your idea, President Miyashiro? Just so you know, we're all taking turns picking up the data.
Fine.
Anyway, it's really a pain to have to go there and pick it up. Couldn't you get one that can transmit wirelessly?
They're expensive. If we tried to do wireless from there all the way to Hekiho or this place, that'd be a huge pain.
So, what about you?
Huh? Arimura, did you get to see her? I guess.
It depends on how you look at it.
I'll tell you tomorrow. I got some interesting information.
What? Tell me now.
It's almost time for Shibuya News' broadcast.
Huh?
There's a broadcast today?
You should have been more careful.
You need to check everything more carefully. It was at the very bottom of today's update, club member Ito.
Shut up.
He hung up on me angrily. I put the phone down and checked the time. About 5 more minutes. I opened Shibuya News and waited for the broadcast to start. After that, Adimura had waited about an hour before she'd come out of Cafe Lax. I thought about pretending to run into her, but I didn't want to go up to her too fast and have her find out I was listening. As I waited for the right moment, she got in a taxi and left. She was probably heading to the Shibuya police station for an interrogation. This was amazing. I wasn't able to talk to Adimura, but I knew I'd managed to get much more important information. There was a lot about their conversation I didn't understand, but I was right about one thing. The police were treating the incidents, or at least revolving dead, as murders. No, maybe not the police. That detective, Shinjo was it? He seemed to be acting separately from the rest of the police force. And he had some kind of secret about it that he shared with Adimura. But more importantly than that, and more importantly than anything, the sticker he was talking about had to be the sumo sticker. From what he'd been saying, I was sure of it. And while he knew about the sumo stickers, he didn't seem to realize their importance. Maybe he hadn't realized that they were at the other 2 crime scenes. Good. I really was one step ahead of the police. This really is my big chance. If I kept it up, I might be able to learn more about the case than anyone else. More than the ignorant kids getting ready for the festival, more than the people who had to cling to the internet for information, more than even the police. More than Kawahara, that jerk who called me a pretend reporter, and more than the rest of the class who called me camera kid. I'll show all those wrong-siders.
It is now 12 a.m., October 7th, 2015. Welcome, everyone. I'm Kay, your host.
Shibuya News' net radio started just like it had said it would. Kay's voice was pleasant and clear as ever. The last broadcast was after the Love Hotel incident, so it would have been September 30th. It had been about a week.
That awful muggy heat is finally going away, isn't it? If the news is right, the temperature should be good for a while. I hope you're all enjoying the weather.
As I listened to her voice read out all the latest information from Shibuya, I grabbed a magazine off a cabinet shelf. It was a back issue of Cool Cat Press that I'd bought, or rather been forced to buy, from Gen. Just like with Kay's broadcast, it had been a while since I'd spent any time with this. That has probably actually helped us developmentally, but I paged through it looking for an interesting article. It was still mostly junk. 10 ways to make your ideal girl like you. How to tell your ideal girl you like her. What to say to your ideal girl to get her into your bed. Etc. There were a lot of articles that were of no interest to me whatsoever. Nope, none at all. As I carefully read through these articles, which did not interest me at all, I found a small section in the back that was something a little different. Rorschach will reveal her naked heart. How to know exactly what she's thinking. The article consisted of strange, symmetrical drawings in black ink, along with commentary from a psychoanalyst about what each said about your personality. Or at least it was someone who claimed to be a psychoanalyst. And at the very end, there were even diagrams on how to use these pictures to see how popular you were, or how compatible you were with a certain girl. This magazine's got everything, doesn't it? I whispered to myself. The Rorschach test was a famous personality test. It's a famous type of projective personality test invented by a Swiss psychologist. A projective test is one which gives the subject a stimuli which can be interpreted in multiple ways and use their response to learn more about what they're thinking or who they are. In a Rorschach test, the ink is dripped onto a paper which is then folded to create a symmetrical image. This image is then shown to the test subject and their response is recorded. Rorschach images always come in a set of 10 cards, and the use of these sets requires a great deal of knowledge and skill. Much research has been done on the use of Rorschach cards since their invention, and their use continues today. The test involved pouring black and red ink down a folded card and spreading it out to create a strange symmetrical shape. Different people would see the shape as a dog's head or a man and a woman kissing, and what you saw told you about your personality. But the idea of using it to determine your popularity or your compatibility with a certain girl was just so stupid I had to laugh. This one's a sheep, huh? Let me see. If you saw this as a fur-covered animal like a sheep, you have a strong urge to hide your real desires. Girls say they don't know what you're thinking and are cautious around you. Your popularity rating is 20 out of 100. Huh? I snapped back to my senses. That was close. I almost did the whole test. I tossed the magazine on my desk. And then, as if she'd been waiting for me to finish, Kay's voice became a little more serious.
Now then, we've gone over a lot of the happenings in Shibuya today, but it's time to get to the point. I'm holding this broadcast today because I wanted to introduce you to a certain article.
The point? What article was she talking about? I listened intently to Kay's words. Well, we were right, it was a student. So...
The article is about something I talk about quite a lot on my site and during these broadcasts. That's right, the strange incidents that are happening in Shibuya right now. I've told you before that these incidents are recurring on the same dates as the New Generation Madness, but this video points out another thing they have in common.
What? Had someone other than us noticed?
This is the address.
Huh? I clicked the link she posted immediately after I saw it. It was an address for a Nikonia video. The few seconds it took to load felt like an eternity. There it is. Huh? Huh? I saw the thumbnail for the video and quickly turned away. And then I grabbed my phone. Onoe, are you listening to Shibuya News? Watch it now, she's reporting on our video. October 7th, 2015, Wednesday. Yay! We went viral, I guess? Sakura ga Okocho. Sorry. Sakura ga Okacho. I can read. Shibuya. Trustworthiness Investigation Company Frisia.
That's all for tonight. Thank you for listening in. This has been your host, Kay. It will soon be 12:22 a.m. on October 7th. I pray you spend tomorrow in a way you won't forget.
Kunosato gave her usual sign-off and ended the broadcast. She stretched expansively, her shoulders cracking as the stretch passed through her entire body. She knew that acting like a proper lady was the way to get listeners for these guerrilla radio broadcasts, but it still felt like she was taking things too far. After almost 100 times, she was used to it, but she'd never finished a broadcast without feeling exhausted.
What?
Nothing.
Good work, Mio. Want some coffee? Thanks.
Shinjo watched, stunned, as Mio leaned back in her chair, crossed her legs, and accepted a coffee from Momose. First Arimura this afternoon, and now this. What's going on with young girls these days? She sure didn't look like a girl who'd been speaking into a computer microphone with a pleasant voice just a moment ago. He knew this was what she was really like, but...
Huh?
Her eyes met with his. What were you doing just now?
Broadcasting information. What else?
Uh-huh. That made no sense. Broadcasting information?
Well, I can understand why it might not make sense to Shinjo.
Momose glanced over at Kunosato.
Mio is one of our best information brokers. Her day job is being a scientist, though.
Huh? At her age?
That's right. She's a genius who skipped several grades to go work at an American lab. I'm just talented. Real geniuses are on a whole different level altogether.
You mean the girl who was helping you? The one you talk to on the phone all the time? Kunosato nodded and started to massage her tired shoulders. He'd had no idea. He'd thought she was pretty grown up for a 17-year-old girl, but... What do you research?
Does my personal data have anything to do with the case?
No, but...
It's right here.
Momose pointed at Shinjo's head. The head?
The brain. She's a special researcher in the field of quantum brain dynamics.
The name given to a scientific field that attempts to explain brain activity, particularly human consciousness, from a quantum mechanical perspective. What's she doing at Hekihole? Hekiho's located in Shibuya, and it's the perfect place to research Chaos Child Syndrome, right?
Can we get to the point?
Without waiting for Shinjo or Momose to agree, she continued.
Did Arimura have anything to say about the sumo stickers?
She's not very polite to me. He sighed to himself.
Hey.
No, I don't know why you care, but all she said was that she found them creepy.
Are you sure?
Yeah, why do you care so much? Come to think of it, you were just saying something about the stickers, weren't you? He thought back to how different Kuno Sato's voice was when she was on the radio. What were you doing?
I told you. Broadcasting information.
Huh? Why don't you give him a real explanation? You're going to be working with him until the case is solved, after all. Kuno Sato didn't bother to hide her displeasure at Momose's interruption.
It's give and take, right? I hope there's at least something of value for me to take.
That was enough to piss Shinjo off. Listen, you need to learn to respect your elders.
Do you know what this year's study said about media usage rates?
Huh?
70% of people get their news from the internet. For teenagers, it's 80%. For those in their 20s and 30s, it's 90%. In all cases, it's a higher percentage than gets their news from TV. If you limit yourself to urban areas only, the percentages are even higher. Less than 10% of people in their teens and 20s read a daily newspaper. That figure hasn't changed much in the last 2 years. Over half of middle school students have a smartphone. 95% of high school kids do. And if you have a smartphone, you're using the internet.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about?
How many people do you think rely solely on the internet for their information?
Kuno Sato suddenly stood up and brought over the mobile PC she'd been using to stream. She opened something on the screen for Shinjo to see. It was the homepage of a major newspaper, dated yesterday. There was an article about a Shibuya resident suing Koshin for an invasion of privacy.
I caused this.
Huh?
One of the members of a group opposed to the Surveillance Society is a Twitter addict. I made a bunch of similar accounts and homepages, each of which looked like it was created by a different person. Then I pointed them to favorable judicial precedents to make it look like a bunch of people were telling him he was a victim. Since he still seemed reluctant, over the weekend I recorded some rude behavior by someone at Koshin and got the whole internet mad about it. And the result? Was this,
she said as she tapped the PC. No way.
When a person relies on the internet for their information, they'll accept any offline source that confirms their natural biases. I'd be willing to bet that he never read anything about the relevant case law, besides what I pointed out to him. Not that I've ever seen his face,
Kuno Sato continued. The way she spoke alone was enough to make Shinjo believe she was telling the truth. Why would you do something like that?
Momose told you that Koshin is probably up to something, right? I agree. So I'm trying to damage their public image as much as possible. And what I want now is information on the sumo stickers.
The screen was indeed showing a picture of the sumo sticker. And then... the Hekiho Academy Newspaper Club? Shinjo's gaze landed on a phrase in the video's introduction. Wasn't that where those kids who snuck into the Love Hotel went? I told them not to get involved. His tone was irritated as he remembered the faces of the boy and the girl. Kuno Sato, however, seemed to find it rather entertaining.
They're pretty perceptive. I intend to take advantage of that where I can. In the next, let's say 12 hours, this video is going to be flooded with information on the sumo stickers.
Huh?
That was why I spread the information during my broadcast.
After what she'd just told him about her dealings with Koshin, he couldn't help but believe her. What is it, Shinjo? Nothing. He realized that he must have been looking at Momose for an answer. Just who was this girl? Oh no, Shinjo, you can't try and seduce me, oh? What are you talking about? He felt his cheeks turn red at this entirely unexpected response. No, I'm not blushing because you guessed what I was thinking. I know that. You've got a long ways to go.
Arimura hasn't found any more like her, right?
Kuno Sato interrupted. Yeah, that's what she said.
Which means the only person we know about who's a potential target is Arimura herself. And we don't know why, but it'll probably take place on October 10th.
Yeah, October 10th, the date of the vampire incident 6 years ago.
If we have to, we can use her to set a trap. Not that we know for sure she's a target, but
What? We can't do that! Shinjo slammed his fist down on the desk and glared at Kunosato. That was going too far, even for him. But
hmm.
instead of getting scared, Konosato glared back at him with an expression he'd never seen before. Her face was cold and dangerous, like the blade of a knife. She looked more like one of the people he'd arrested than anyone he'd saved. You're helping me solve this case, right? Just so we're clear, when I need you to follow my orders, you will.
And just so we're clear,
Kunosato put her hands on the desk and drew closer to him.
the person in the world I most want to kill is the one behind these incidents. And after that, it's Arimura and her ilk.
What a pain. Yeah. Ito whispered as he turned the camera around the room, and I wholeheartedly agreed. We were in our classroom after school. The Culture Festival was just 3 days away, and from this afternoon until the day of the event, classes were canceled to allow more time for the preparations. The rest of the class must have been getting excited because they were making even more noise than usual as they started moving around desks and furniture. Since this marked the start of real preparations for the Culture Festival, the newspaper club needed to go around and take more footage of the rest of the school. We'd been on our feet all afternoon. I didn't have time for this right now. I'm now a YouTube star. Sorry, a Nikonia star. What a nuisance. Yeah. Ito whispered as he saw the group glancing at us from a corner of the classroom.
What? Seriously? That's pathetic.
So those guys upload stuff to Nikonia? Really? How sad do you have to be to rip off someone else's work? We didn't rip off anybody. Damn those one-siders. Didn't they look at the timestamp? You know, I didn't realize they all watched Nikonia so much. Our class's exhibit for the Culture Festival is the Gero Froggy Cafe, right? Huh? Yeah. It was an article by that Watabe guy that made Gero Froggy get popular again. So a lot of them knew who Watabe was. Is that why? Ito sighed again. He was probably getting sick of the glances and whispers he'd been getting since lunchtime. So was I. Ugh. Miyashiro. What? The look on Kawahara's face said, I have better things to do than waste time with you right now. How far are you with the footage of the preparations for the Culture Festival? Oh, so that's all I wanted to talk about. Well, yeah, how was I supposed to answer that? We were just recording videos, so there really was no point when it was finished. And please stop looking at me like this. What? How far are you? Oh, well... Stuff's coming along fine. Is there an issue? Someone suggested it might look nice if we have a video of the preparations playing in the background during the closing ceremony. Can you get that ready? Ito put his hand on my shoulder. Sure can, right? Yeah, probably. You heard him. Alright, we'll go over the details tomorrow. Huh? Wait a second. I found myself speaking to Kawahara as he turned to leave. I don't have time for... What? No, nothing. Kawahara looked irritated that I'd stopped him. Let's go, Kurusu. Kurusu? Kurusu seemed to be thinking about something. It wasn't clear if she'd heard him or not. And suddenly she looked at me.
Takuru.
What? Huh? For once, Kurusu seemed uncertain about what to say. Come to think of it, this was the first time I'd talked to her since the incident with Arimura.
Come with me.
Huh? Wait! She dragged me out to the corner of an empty hallway. I shook her hand off my arm. What? What's wrong? Kurusu cradled the hand I'd shaken off protectively.
Have you met Arimura since then?
Since then? You mean since we met in the student council room? She nodded. No, I haven't. That wasn't a lie. I hadn't spoken to her directly after all.
I see.
What? Is there something wrong with Arimura?
Uh,
Kurusu remained silent, her lips pressed into a thin line. And then,
you uploaded a video about those cases, right? Delete it, now.
had you been checking our page?
And give up on the case, too. You learned your lesson with the Love Hotel, didn't you?
It's true that the police took me into custody, but they didn't.
Something really bad could happen to you.
There was something different about the way she talked. Her whole personality was different than usual. It wasn't as forceful. She was lecturing me, but instead of looking me in the eye, she was cradling her arm. It was as if she was speaking to herself, not to me. For the first time since I'd left the orphanage, I thought I might be able to win an argument with her. I'm not doing anything dangerous. That video I uploaded was just what the newspaper club normally does, right? A lot of people are watching that video now. I'm not like those people who can only write comments about it.
Are you still talking about that? You're not a kid anymore.
I'm going to the club room. If you're heading back to the classroom, tell Ito I'll be waiting for him. I turned around without waiting for her answer. When I'd gotten a good distance away, she said,
Takuru, you aren't any different from anyone else. You're just a teenage boy.
Her voice wasn't as strong as usual, but there was no trace of anything like kindness in it either. I didn't stop walking. A minute later, Ito ran up to me and we walked to the club room together. Ito asked me if something had happened, but I told him that wasn't the case.
Oh, you're finally here. You're late, guys.
Sorry, what's going on? Oops.
We just broke 100,000, and there's over 5,000 comments.
Huh? You're serious? Ito raced over to the PC that Serika was looking at. You're serious? Hey, Miyashiro! Calm down. 100,000 isn't that big a number. You're shaking, man. Shut up. She's right. We broke 100,000. Yesterday, that video only had 5 views, and now it had over 100,000. Actually, it was getting close to 110,000. Seriously? The cause was obvious. It was the Nikoniya news video that had been updated this morning. What about the comments on Watabe's article?
When I looked before, there was a big flame war going on.
Serika opened the page.
Yep, still is.
1 out of every 3 or 4 comments on the article was criticizing it. I took a quick look at them. Most of them are fakers. The comments are linked to Twitter, so I'm seeing stuff from people who didn't even look at the article. Fakers is a word invented by Miyashiro. It refers to someone who brags about knowing information easily available with a simple internet search, who writes comments with inaccurate information, and who pretends to be a right-sider. In Miyashiro's mind, their words are no different than meaningless scribblings, and he considers all fakers to be wrong-siders. It was this morning when we realized that something was going on with the view count on the video we uploaded. After Shibuya News had linked to it, the views had gone up to almost 10,000 overnight. That in itself was a big deal. It was getting views faster than any video in the club's history. But this was to be expected. Kei had a lot of followers. After the broadcast had ended around midnight, Ito, Serika, and I had gotten excited and quickly got in touch on our smartphones. We'd stayed up until close to dawn watching the number go up. But just before noon, it had really started to climb. Just as we decided to see where these new viewers were coming from, we noticed a comment on the video saying, "I came from Watabe's article." This was the article they were referring to. Nikoniya's web reporter, Watabe, had figured out that the sumo stickers were being placed near the crime scenes. And he had a never-before-seen photo of the room at the Love Hotel from the revolving dead incident. And in that photo, I was the first one to find it. Watabe had realized that the photo contained a sumo sticker and that the other crime scenes had sumo stickers nearby as well. He'd written up his findings in an article and published it. And as a result, people had come over to our video that discussed the same topic. 100,000's a new record, right? The vice president's video on the Shibuya restoration got 50,000, and that was our old record. Yeah, that's true, but it's not just the content of the article itself. It's more that so many people are claiming that Watabe ripped us off. Come on, dude. Still, 100,000 is 100,000. And in so little time, we're getting tons of comments, too. Well, that's true. Still, it was hard for me to be happy. The reason we were getting so many views and comments was that the contents of Watabe's article were so similar to ours. Not many viewers seem to think that we were amateurs who just happened to put something together similar to Nikonia News. A lot of people were enjoying the scandal of Watabe, the up-and-coming reporter, plagiarizing an amateur video. It was true that we'd uploaded our video before Watabe. That was obvious from the timestamps. Well, some of our classmates seemed to think that we'd ripped off Watabe, though. It's like flame war marketing, which is a marketing strategy that involves starting a flame war to increase sales or awareness of a product. A flame war is a large-scale internet argument that can become extremely heated. Huh? This article Watabe wrote, I don't know if he really ripped us off, but... No, that can't be right, can it? Even a web journalist wouldn't deliberately plagiarize an amateur video as a marketing stunt. Well, maybe. And Watabe doesn't need to do that anyways. He's plenty popular already after all the stories he'd broken. And we only uploaded our video 2 days ago, right? And barely anyone saw it. Only got taken up by Shibuya News this morning. This article clearly wasn't written in a few hours. Yeah, that's true too, but something still bothered me. There were several conditions that had to be met for a flame war to really take off. 2 of the biggest were that a famous person had to be the target, and that the mainstream media had to get involved. Mainstream media is a derogatory term for major media organs like TV, newspapers, and radio. The word itself existed before the advent of the internet, but in Japan it's used mostly as a form of net slang. Its use is often rooted in the belief that all forms of media besides the internet are in bed with corporations, political parties, or special interests and refuse to broadcast the truth. Just having our video picked up by Shibuya News was a first for us. What were the odds that the perfect fodder for an epic flame war would get posted at the exact same time? There's no point in thinking about it, is there? Ito said as he watched me mumble to myself. Let's see if any of the viewer comments have anything useful in them. See, people are talking about the sumo stickers. Hey, Miyashiro, this is our chance, right? Ito seemed unable to contain his excitement. Actually, you seem really excited about this. Huh? Do I?
Seems last video didn't get over 100 views after all.
Ito's face suddenly went red.
That's not the issue here.
Was that why?
Don't look. Come on, we lost some time because of the culture festival, so let's get started. Kazuki.
Alright. It's a girl, so let's do some positive. Kazuki looked up from her game. She'd been totally ignoring all of this. Print out some of the images from Watabe's article. Ito took them and stood in front of the board. He started to put them up. His face was still red. He glared at the images as he looked for a spot to put them.
Come on, check the video.
Well, whatever. If he thinks he's fooling me like that, then I'll let him think that. Alright. I still felt sick. Skip past the thumbnail.
Okay, I don't like it either.
She skipped past the image of the sumo sticker and started to scroll just through the comments. There were a lot of different types of comments. Some were claiming that Watabe had ripped us off. Some of them were saying all kinds of horrible things about us. Very few of them were discussing the actual video. These weren't the comments I was interested in.
Oh, we got an email.
An email? That was the sound the PC made when it got an incoming email. The email address it used was for the newspaper club. Ito and I had a joint account we used to upload videos onto Nikonia, and the email address was written on our profile page. Normal users never bothered to check out our profile page, so we almost never got any email. Sedika opened the email program on the computer. There was a single new email. Forget the email, look at the video. Given the timing, it might be someone with a tip. What kind of tip? You know, something about the video. Ito seemed unsatisfied, but it would only take a minute to check out the email. I asked Sedika to open it. Oh, this is...
What?
I'll read...
I'll read it, okay? Hello, this is Kay, the administrator of Shibuya News.
Kay? Kay had gotten in touch with us. Yes, now I'm excited.
The video you made was extremely interesting, and I discussed it on my show last night. Would you like to exchange contact information? You've made a wonderful discovery, and I'd like to get to know you better. Please tell me when you're available to meet in person.
Get to know me better? Meet me in person? I gulped. Kay had recognized our work. There could be no greater honor. Is that for real? There'd be no point in pretending to be Kay to contact us. And the address matched the one used by Shibuya News.
There's more. I've attached a picture I took of myself. Please send me a picture of you.
A picture? Kay had never put up a picture of her face up on Shibuya News. Her broadcast was always voice only. Of course, I'd heard her voice, but I'd never seen her face. In my mind, I pictured her as a highly intelligent girl, and she'd sent a picture of her face? Could it be a virus? Why was Ito so suspicious of everything? Kay wanted to get in touch with us. Would it kill you to be a little more excited? Kay wouldn't do that. I would believe in Kay. I wanted to believe. You're a huge fan of Shibuya News, aren't you? Do what you want. I wouldn't call myself a huge fan, but I'm a fan. Anyway, open the attached file. Okay. This was my chance to see Kay. I couldn't wait. I felt like I was meeting my future bride. Oh god, we're in deep. Sedika moved the mouse and opened the attached file, and what appeared was... sexy. Yeah. No. Kay's not that kind of girl. Hey, Miyashiro, why are you mumbling to yourself? Are you reading? Huh? Ito and Sedika were looking at each of the comments on the video. Sedika flipped past any points where the sumo sticker appeared and just scrolled through the comments. Oops, now wasn't the time to be getting weird ideas. Don't rip up Watabe. No, this one was really uploaded first. We are the victims of the mainstream media. You can ignore that debate. Search for anything with the word sticker in it. Okay. I'm not seeing anything useful. One guy was calling it the Fatso sticker. Another was saying sumo sticker is my waifu. Sedika must have been getting annoyed with it too because she started to use her free hand to play with her ghetto froggy strap. But a moment later, her hand froze. Huh? What's this? The sumo stickers were made by Kalex, you wrong-sider morons, it says. You're the wrong-sider moron. Sure, there was a theory on the internet that an artist named Kalex was behind the stickers, but no one had ever found any proof. They'd probably just read the title or the first few lines of an article somewhere that said Kalex was the artist who created the stickers and never given it any more thought. What's this address? There was a URL among the comments that was pasted with no explanation whatsoever. Should I click on it? Give me a second. I took one look at the letters in the address. It's just an Amablog address. Yeah. I wasn't sure, but it didn't look like a very dangerous page. Okay. Huh? A moment later, I was staring at a page with an ugly, garish background. I looked away from the sumo sticker that was its hit counter. What is this place? Oh. Sedika clicked through the links on the page. Looks like it's a page about the sumo stickers. Ugh. Must have been a lot of work to get all these. Was this from before the earthquake? Sedika must have still been bothered by all the stickers because before she said anything, she scrolled down to the text-only part of the page. The eye in the stickers sees disaster coming and acts to prevent it. The prophecy of humanity's destruction in 2015 was averted by the stickers, though there was still some damage. The prophecy of humanity's destruction in 2015? Does he mean the Egyptian apocalypse? The Egyptian apocalypse was the theory that humanity would be wiped out on September 23, 2015. The theory was proposed by an Egyptologist who stated that the Temple of Isis, an important Egyptian holy site, contained 1,465 gods, and then an ancient legend stated that if the temple is sealed every autumn equinox, one of the gods within will lose their power. When the last god loses its power, the world will be drowned in water. The temple was sealed in 550 AD, which meant that on the fall equinox of 2015, 9/23/2015, the last god would lose its power and the world would be drowned. I'm amazed you knew what he was talking about. Everyone knows that. I read further down the page and saw that he considered the crash of 15 to be part of the prophecy and said that the stickers had saved humanity. Between the text and its choice in colors, the guy who made this page isn't right in the head. Come to think of it, the crash wasn't that big a deal in Shibuya, was it? Did the sumo stickers protect against solar storms or something? Idiot, why would you believe that? Shibuya wasn't hit bad because the restoration project provided for protection against solar storms. This is just the barrier theory.
The barrier theory?
How could she forget that? A long time ago, we spent a lot of time looking into this. The theory says that since sumo wrestling was originally a Shinto religious rite, the stickers have some religious meaning. It says that they form a barrier.
What kind of religious meaning?
Crap, I didn't know. Anyway, the barrier theory is nonsense. They're called sumo stickers, but there's no evidence that they're actually supposed to be a sumo wrestler. Good. I guess I fooled her.
What's this, Taku?
What? I know the answer.
You know who created them?
Huh?
This,
Serika said as she pointed to a page about the creator of the sumo stickers. No, I was mistaken. Keep going.
Okay.
That background was using the nastiest colors I'd ever seen. My eyes were starting to hurt. What's this? The creator of the sumo stickers is not, as many people seem to think, Kalex. Between this and the sheer number of sumo sticker photos, it was clear that this page's author was a little crazy, but had done their homework. The creator of the stickers was sacrificed to the rest of humanity in order to build the barrier. No, maybe more than just a little crazy. They were totally nuts. I hadn't read a page like this in a while. This creator. Huh? I stopped scrolling down the page. Look. Her voice was shaking a little as she pointed at the screen. Is inside A.H. General Hospital. Taku? I knew what she was trying to say. I could see Serika's shock out of the corner of my eye, but I couldn't take my eyes off the word A.H. Tokyo General Hospital. That was the hospital. That was the hospital I'd snuck into with Serika in elementary school, the one I saw in my dreams all the time. Hey, Miyashiro? Miyashiro. What? Katsuki stuck her face in front of the display from the side and pointed towards Ito. What?
This is nuts.
Ito was staring at the board as he whispered. Then he walked straight up to it.
I knew it.
Hey, look at this. He pointed towards the pictures that were stuck up on the board. What is it? I tried to hide my shock at what I'd just seen, but my voice was quivering. But Ito was completely ignoring me. He ripped off a few of the pictures. And stuck them back up. The huge number of sumo stickers, and then the long-distance shots of the ones found at the crime scene? Look here. I could tell that Ito and Serika turned to look at me when I laughed. I thought back to the conversation I just had with Kurise. Something terrible might happen? I would keep going anyway. I would probably keep going all the way. Because I wasn't just an ordinary teenage boy. All right. I think this is a good place to stop. So next stream is tomorrow. We'll do our normal Tuesday stream, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Might have some more people on it. That's all I got. So hope everyone had a good night. Hope you all enjoyed this makeup stream and be back tomorrow. Bye. Thank you.